So hi, I'm Trichologist Carolyn from Absolique Hair Health Clinic. What I do with Absolique is help people with hair loss, hair thinning and scalp concerns. These days, we've got a lot of autoimmune hair and scalp conditions as well as health conditions as well. So a big role in these is nutrition. So this is where I may need to recommend not only dietary changes, but some nutritional supplementation. And that's where we also need to be very, very aware of what is in our nutritional supplementation. We cannot use just any old cheap supplements because you just do not know what's in them. So a lot of the ingredients that we can find in them can actually do more harm to your health while we're trying to help to fix that. So a lot of my clients also need to be gluten-free, dairy-free and sugar-free. So this is where we found our trusted and tested Modere, and we use their nutritional supplements, personal care and household products. So today we have the pleasure of interviewing Matthew Riddell again. So he's been actively with Modere since 2006. He's been on multiple product advisory boards. I know he started with Modere as a personal trainer, and these days he's a current, what you call it, social marketer. So welcome, Matthew, once again.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm very excited for our conversation today because we're going to cover the new range that Modere have introduced called Axis. Okay, so we're familiar with, we used to use the Green Qi. There's now some newbies. So I'm going to hand it over to you, the expert, to talk about, first of all, I guess, Phytogreens and the Axis range.
Sure. So the Axis range, I mean, the name of it's kind of self-explanatory as well, which is there is a gut-brain axis that has been very, very well identified in science, which is if your gut is not working right, just about everything isn't working right, and it's specifically to do with all of your mental function as well. So there's a whole bunch of things that are linked to gut health, and the Axis range is designed to help correct and maintain just optimal wellness all round. So within the three that actually there's a fourth product coming, but the first is the Phytogreens. Now, a lot of you who are watching this may have been familiar with Modere's previous, which was called Green Qi. That was a best-selling product for over 20 years. It like one of the first ones I ever tried, really good for people alkalizing your system. And there's a whole bunch of reasons to do that. And there's a lot of books that you can read. Just like if you go on Google, why to alkalize, so much will come up. And it's all about the use of like not having the stuff that acidifies your body, which is often your grains, your sugars and grains, and all the stuff that Carolyn would probably say to you, ease up on. But also things that will alkalize your body are things like your super greens. So when you're having a green product, like there is lots on the market. Remember when I first got started with Modere, it was the product Green Qi was right at the time when the Pan Pharmaceuticals debacle was happening. I don't know if anyone ever remembers that, but that was like 2005, 2006. And what happened was a whole bunch of products disappeared from the shelves, particularly nutritional products and pharmaceuticals, because they couldn't guarantee the product quality, right? Particularly greens and a whole bunch of others. It also happened in the GFC. Modere's Green Qi has been pretty consistent the entire time. One of the things they do with it is tested for two things that you want to make sure any product that you, like Carolyn said before, that you're putting in your body, you want to make sure that it's tested for purity and potency. So purity is, does it have heavy metals in it? Does it have anything, pesticides, heavy metals, anything that shouldn't be there? How pure is it? Like if it says that it's got green tea extract or broccoli extract or a herb or anything in there, is it that? And if it is, which it should be, and there's only two ways to test for it, how potent is it? Like, is it fresh? Is it potent? Now, they use something called thin layer chromatography. They've used this for like 20 years. Basically, it genetically tests how strong is it. And they test for heavy metals. They test for everything you can imagine. So that little product, that little tub of Green Qi that you get, the reason that Carolyn and so many other practitioners choose Modere is you know exactly what you're getting and it doesn't have anything else in there. So it's both pure and free from all the things you don't want, and it's exactly what you pay for. That's why I have a lot of athletes that use the product as well. Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. And from an overall wellness point of view, Green Qi is one of the foundational products. I think most people, if they were really honest, could say probably not getting enough deep green leafy material in their diet. And there's a lot of reasons that you should. Like deep leafy green material in your diet has things like indole-3 carbinol in it. That's wonderful for hormone balancing, making sure that your estrogen doesn't get too high, all sorts of things. Like just generally, the whole eat your veggies thing, it's a real thing, but particularly green, dark, leafy veg.
The interesting thing there, Matt, is like Green Qi was so good and so popular for so long and is so pure and potent. Why did they change it?
Make it taste better. That's the honest answer. Because the problem that we
have improved as well. No, I agree. It tastes better, absolutely, but it is better.
So there's a few things, but like a car, I mean, why did they make the new BMW or the new Audi when the old one was just fine?
Yeah.
Same with this, like the product, there's new science that comes out all the time. There's things that can be removed. There's things that can be added. So you'll notice within Modere, product formulas are not static. They will be updated about every couple of years.
Okay.
There's very few exceptions, maybe natural mineral drink, because that's not going to change. Well, yeah. I say that, touch wood, but I don't think that will change. Some things don't need to, but when you're looking at a targeted holistic wellness product, they're going to update and improve as new science comes out. A perfect example was, actually I won't use that, no, that's okay, but we'll get sidetracked. So for example, they could have just thrown more stuff into Green Qi, but instead they made, into the Phytogolds, Phytogreens, they've brought out an entirely new product called Phytogolds, right? So that it's all of your adaptogens, so things like fermented turmeric. It's got some amazing stuff in there, and just generally it is an antioxidant hit. And a real thing that people are doing now, I personally am an example of this, is every evening, and I do it at night, some people do it in the morning, I make up a green drink with like all the stuff that I'm going to take in a day. And I don't take a lot of tablets. I'll take like antioxidant sustained release is one that I just every night, because I feel so good doing that, and some colostrum. Other than that, it's all into this drink that I've got. So it's like things like, your natural minerals, because your body absolutely needs that. Things like your Phytogreens, Phytogolds. I actually put my colostrum usually in there because you can pull it apart. Just for the I don't think anyone in 2021 needs convincing that boosting your immune system is a good idea. So just sticking that in there. But also, like, just maintaining optimal function of your systems in general. They don't function optimally if they're acidic. So you've got to get the greens in there. They don't function optimally if you're minerally deficient. So you've got to get the minerals in there. So this is, I guess, the goal of that is just homeostasis and balance. So the Phytogolds are really good. It's just, if you really want to take your health to the next level, there is so much science on things like your turmerics, let alone fermented turmeric and all of the other things. But when you mix the greens and golds together, have you done that yet?
Oh yeah. It tastes like I'm not a sweet tooth at all. So to me, it kind of starts tasting like a yummy milkshake that I had as a kid. I'm not kidding. Yep. It is that good. So anyone who says that they don't like the green or didn't like the Green Qi, I'm like, you're going to love Phytogreens. But if you still have any concern, you can use this Phytogolds. You could make a latte out of it. It is that tasty.
It's so tasty. So one of the things that Modere is they moved from, because when Modere started in a very niche area, which was all of you just wellness warriors, the Live Clean tribe, and they're branching out and making things where it's for more mainstream, not losing the power of the products, but just making it more palatable for people. Where it's, I don't know how many conversations I've had, both as a trainer and as time went on, where it's like, oh, I'd love to take that green stuff, but I just feel like I'm gonna throw up, or I can't drink. And I'm like, I think to myself, just have it. Like it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, suck it up. But a lot of people are just like, I can't do it. Whereas this, it just tastes better. Now, that's the greens and golds. Okay. there's also a Phyto Reds or a I think it's Phyto Reds coming.
Is this
I don't
the
have all
new
the
one
details.
that you're teasing us with that?
New one.
Wow.
That's right. It's
Exciting.
called Phyto Red. I'm excited about this because it's all of your berries. And again, so many reasons why you want to have more of that. It's just, look, one thing because people say, well, if I had an all organic diet and did all this stuff,
Yeah, right.
I'm like, but you're not. But you're not. And most people, they're so rushed with their life, it doesn't hurt to guarantee it for people who aren't and top it up for people who are. So what the Axis Trebiotic, now you'll know, Modere has a very, very good probiotic. I recently interviewed the creator of that, John Ellerman. Now, the straight probiotic in the Modere range to me is if you've got what I would term gut dysbiosis. That's where it's just not functioning right. You know it's not right. And there's a lot of side effects. There's mental side effects like depression and anxiety. This isn't me talking. This is the guy who invented it. And there's a lot of science behind it. Peter Dingle's written books on this. It's a good place to check is your second brain, like your gut.
Yeah.
Now, the probiotic itself, the straight one, is the two hardiest strains designed to just get in there and suppress all of the bad guys and let your good guys come back to life. That's what it does. It's two strains. It's a lactobacillus and a bifido. It's very strong. The prebiotic is very different. It's strains selected specifically, and you can Google those strains and see what they're for, but specifically designed to aid with mental function. And just like, it's a very, very good product. One thing when it comes to gut health products, if you're like, I wonder if it'll work for me, you can usually tell with a gut health product,
yeah,
if it has worked for you. Most people that I've seen, you can read into that, but most people who use it are like, wow, it's a premium product. It's certainly not like bottom of the chemist cheap, but if you're looking to see a change in your digestion and see how you're feeling, most people who try it tend to continue on with it. I added in, it's just little granules, right? So you can just get a little scoop of it. You can stick it on top. If you're someone who has muesli, you can stick it on top of that. Like, you can add it very easily. So I would say for me personally, the prebiotic is a ongoing lifestyle product, whereas the probiotic is, if you've got a problem, this is designed to get in there and correct you back to center. That's how we kind of recommend it to people anyway. So they're the three products from the Axis range, and there is a fourth coming, and no doubt they'll expand the range further. But why did Green Qi get updated? It was because one, to make it taste better so more people could enjoy it. Also, just to improve the product. So you had a question that you wanted to ask me, I think, from before as well, about Green Qi.
Oh yes, always looking at products and the new packaging and what have you. And I did realise, on the packaging or the Phytogreens, it doesn't have the gluten-free marking. And then obviously I dug deep into the fact sheet and all of that. And right down there, it says, oh, this product, what did it say? Is Phytogreens gluten-free? No, because it contains some ingredients derived from gluten grains, including oats. But we had a quick chat about that before. So yes, tell me about how that ended up. Okay,
so Green Qi, as with, Phytogolds and Phytogreens, they're standardized international products, okay? Same product everywhere. As far as I'm aware anyway, the Phytogolds in America and Australia are exactly the same. There are different laws governing what are considered gluten-free or not. And in America, it's gluten-free. In Australia, it's not. We have a different TGA standard. In Australia, is anything that is derived from, for example, oat, I think is the guilty culprit there. So the oat fiber is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
The gluten part is in the oat protein. Okay, so I would say to someone, if I was celiac, I wouldn't take anyone's word for it, no matter what they were saying, no matter what the packaging said. If you're celiac, you've got a higher standard, and you've got to be very careful. Okay, but for someone who's just looking for something that's generally gluten-free, do with that what you will. You know, it's like, it is not a product actively containing gluten, but it can't be classed as gluten-free because of that rules in Australia. So that's, yeah, that's what I would say to somebody. Yeah, it's you know, I'm a little bit limited as to what I can say. I personally avoid most things containing gluten. I just don't like having it. It makes me tired, and I find it gives me autoimmune challenges if I have too much of it, and just affects digestion. I take Green Qi or the PhytoGolds every day. Doesn't affect me at all. So,
well, I'm the same. I completely, as a rule, avoid gluten. It does upset me, and I've been using the Phytogreens, and it was only on, you know, really looking at the packaging. Oh, hang on a minute. This one actually doesn't have the gluten-free stamp that made me investigate. Certainly wasn't that it was making me feel any different. And when I found it, I thought, this is very niche, because the majority of my clients, when I ask them for autoimmune reasons or because the gluten's blocking the ferritin absorption, they're the main reasons I would go gluten-free. That's, you know, we have to avoid the, you know, main gluten. So they turn to oats, and they're totally fine. So when I looked at the culprit was the oat fiber, yeah, you had to have a giggle. So it was really interesting to know that it's more of an international rule of what's gluten-free classified. In Australia, it's the TGA, and particularly I have a lot of clients in the States. It's different over there because they have the FDA as well. So really, it's a technicality, isn't it? Sorry?
There are products you can get in America that you just think, well, man, I wish we could get that here in Australia.
You know, it's interesting. I have a lot of clients in the States that they cannot get some of our products from Australia, and they wish they could. In particular, the hair nails and the prostate health, they can't get.
Yeah. Within the Modere range, so Australia is very spoiled. We have the largest range for all of those of you who are Australian watching this. They're working on, like, again, standardizing more and more, but there's still going to always be, you know, every country will have some differences, but we have the largest range of Modere products in Australia. We are very, very spoiled. We have stuff like, they don't get colostrum internationally. There's lots that we get here that no one else gets. So we're lucky. So
if we can't get a little stamp that says it's gluten-free, but we understand the ingredients, we're okay with that, because otherwise we're doing well. So I guess to cap off, the Green Qi was the green drink we used to use from Modere, and it is now called Axis, which we understand because that's the gut-brain axis, and it's called Phytogreens.
Correct.
So it's really not hard to find, because you just go under health and wellness, and then you look for Axis. It's got its own little category, and you've got your Phytogreens. I would use exactly the same as Green Qi. Like you say, I build a power drink, and I much prefer to use liquids and powders, like liquid nutrition, to make this magic shake, this power drink, and you take it once a day. So you're not rattling around with all these tablets. So that's what made me very excited about the PhytoGold, which is, as you know, you said, is based on turmeric. So it's more of an anti-inflammatory. And we all need that. And not only the benefit of that, it tastes amazing.
It tastes so good. So like for what it is as a wellness product, it's so tasty. It's just such a good product.
It really is. And then on top of that, the Nutribiotic, which is something that you can take all the time. So I'm very careful with my clients using probiotics. You know, in the beginning, I work with people for the first 4 months when I meet them. I've got to rebuild everything. So I would use the normal probiotic that we have been using, because I am rebuilding. And then I would have to swap them out, okay, after 4 months. But now I've got the Tribiotic to go to, that, you know, we can keep that as a maintenance dose. And to be fair, yes, it is expensive because it's a big jar, but it lasts a long time compared to the sachets. So I think cost effective wise, it works really well, and it adds more flavor. So if anyone adds those to the green drink and still has a problem,
pretty damn good. Like, yeah, I mean, the thing is, the goal is that that green drink that you have, you know, becomes a staple part of what you're doing. The goal is long-term wellness, like long-term healthy, you know, happy, healthy bodies. It just comes from looking at yourself. It's a small investment. That's how I've always looked at health, is because when I was a trainer, my whole, most of the people who would come and see me were in their, 50s and 60s and 70s. We had some people in their 80s where they had not invested. Some people had not invested the whole way along, and they'd get to the end and be like, I'm stuffed, and it was very difficult. It was such a warning flag for me. But you get some people who had like looked after themselves, supplemented, worked out, and they got to their 60s and 70s and they were still living the dream, just with a bit of extra wisdom in there. It's just so little, but it was nothing dramatic. It's all the little things that you do.
And it's really, really important what you do today to how your body is going to be in 20 years' time. So it's definitely an investment. And like you said, it's all about, we've got to build our immunity. We've got to protect ourselves these days. I mean,
absolutely.
Absolutely. So is there anything else that you wanted to cover? You did sneak out that there's this new, is it going to be Phyto Reds?
Oh, yeah.
When's that going to be?
Stay tuned for that one. You're going to like that one.
Yeah. Have you tasted it?
I would just say, look, I actually haven't tasted it yet. I've had a sneak at what's going in. I get excited by what's into it, and I get used to the flavor of everything. So when it tastes good, it's like a delight. I'm like, that tastes good. I'm going to take it anyway.
With all the berries, that it's going to be a powdered antioxidant, potentially? Wow. And some vitamins, I suspect, will be in there as well.
Yeah. The goal is, again, to make it really easy and delicious to take. And, you're not having to take a million pills. Like some things you can't put into a powdered form. Yeah. But when they can, let's do that, because it's so much easier to just add it all in together and off you go. And it makes a very easy habit. It becomes like a daily ritual for you.
So not only is it good for you, but now it tastes good and you protect it.
It tastes good. That's exactly right.
Fantastic. I'm always happy to catch up and learn a little bit more, but get these little sneaky, cheeky ones of the things that are coming up. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I will just let people know, how we work with Modere these days is, I'm a practitioner. So, people come to me and I'll recommend what you need specifically based on their blood test. So I'm very, very, very individual in recommending the right things. We gather up a lot of information. So I ask people to get one from me so I can tell you when to take it. You said you take yours of a nighttime, Matt. I try and get my clients to take it on a hungry, empty tummy away from meals, because I'm looking at digestion, absorption deficiencies, all sorts of other things. So we're very specific to fit it into that person's lifestyle. And once they're all set with all their instructions, being a practitioner with Modere, they allow me to set up a free account for my clients, and then they go online and they buy direct. And with that, they get a huge discount. And I must say, I love, love, love the new Smart Ship. I didn't like it at first, but now I put my order in there. It sits there. I get a notification 7 days before. I go and amend it, and it automatically comes out. I'm never out of stock. Wow, I love it. So that's fantastic. So thanks again. We might have a chat to you again once the Reds come back in and we've all tried it.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
All right. You take care. I'll say bye for now. Thank you.
Thanks.